Once upon a time in the kingdom of Velandor, there ruled a young and noble king named Aric, beloved by his people and feared by his enemies. His empire stretched across fertile valleys and snowy peaks, and his banner waved proudly in every corner of the land. King Aric had ascended to the throne at the age of 25 after his father's sudden death. In just a few years he brought prosperity, justice, and innovation to Velandor. He was a warrior scholar, equally comfortable in the library as on the battlefield. But it was not just wisdom that made him strong, it was love. At his side stood Queen Seraphina, his childhood friend turned soulmate. Together, they were a beacon of hope. But fate is rarely kind to kings. Aric's closest adviser, Lord Malgareth, betrayed him, poisoning the minds of the nobles with lies and forging alliances with rival kingdoms. One cold winter's night, the castle was stormed. Aric's army had been lured away on false pretenses. Queen Seraphina was captured. Aric fled, bloodied and broken, into the forest. Alone and hunted, Aric lived in exile for years. The once great king became a myth. He took shelter in ruined temples, surviving on roots and rainwater, his dreams haunted by screams from that terrible night. He tried to forget his crown, but his heart wouldn't let go. "A king does not die in exile," he whispered to the stars. One fateful day, he rescued a village from raiders. They didn't recognize him, but they followed him. Word spread. A warrior in the woods with the heart of a king. With each act of courage, Aric inspired more to join him: farmers, outlaws, old soldiers. The Phoenix Rebellion was born. Aric trained them not just to fight, but to believe. "We don't fight for revenge," he said. "We fight for justice." In the woods, a forgotten king became a legend reborn. 7 winters had passed. On the eve of the 8th, Aric and the Phoenix Rebellion stormed the capital. The people rose with them. Old allies returned. The streets rang with the cries, "For Aric, for Velandor." Face to face once more with Malgareth, Aric showed mercy. A king's strength is not in vengeance but in restraint. He spared him, sending him to exile. The crown was returned to Aric, but he wore it differently now, not as a ruler above men, but among them. His first act? Freeing the prisoners of war and rebuilding the orphanages destroyed in the rebellion. And then, finally, he found her, Seraphina, imprisoned but alive. Their embrace became the symbol of Velandor's rebirth. Aric ruled for 30 more years. The phoenix became the kingdom's emblem, not of war, but of rebirth. His story was told across generations, not as the tale of a perfect king, but of a broken man who rose. Because true greatness isn't in never falling, it's in rising. When all the world thinks you can't,